In September 1931, the Japanese invaded and conquered the Chinese province of Manchuria. Proclaimed in 1932, the Stimson Doctrine declared that the United States would not recognize any territorial acquisitions achieved by force. Although the United States did not recognize the Japanese occupation, the Hoover administration refrained from taking any military action. The failure of the United States and other powers to collect any concrete action marked the failure of collective security. As a result of a series of embargoes on Japan-bound supplies, Japan launched a series of attacks on Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor occurred after diplomatic negotiations with the United States had reached a stalemate. This officially pulled America into World War II. Rosie the Riveter was a nickname given during World War II to American women who did industrial work in the 1940s. The war mobilization caused a significant movement of married women into the workforce. During the war, many families were split apart. Women and children had to miss their husbands or fathers because they had to go to war. And in many cases, those men wouldn't come back. Containment was a foreign policy designed to contain or block Soviet expansion. Containment was the primary U.S. foreign policy from the announcement of the Truman Doctrine in 1947 to the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. President Truman was determined to block the expansion of Soviet influence into Greece and Turkey. On March 12, 1947, Truman asked Congress for $400 million in economic aid for Greece and Turkey. Truman justified the aid by declaring that the United States would support free peoples who are resisting attempted subjugations by armed minorities by outside pressures. The sweeping pledge became known as the Truman Doctrine.
Is that how you read to like people?
World War II left Western Europe devastated and vulnerable to Soviet influence. The Marshall Plan was a program of economic aid designed to promote the recovery of war-torn Europe while also preventing the spread of communist influence. The Marshall Plan was an integral part of Truman's policy of containment. Here is an excerpt from Truman's speech justifying the Marshall Plan. Our policy is directed not against any country or doctrine, but against hunger, poverty, desperation, and chaos. Its purpose should be the revival of a working economy in the world so as to permit the emergence of political and social conditions in which free institutions can exist. Any government that is willing to assist in the task of recovery will find full cooperation, I am sure, on the part of the United States government. Overall, World War II and the Cold War were important events in American history. However, it did cause a ton of American deaths. This production of World War II and the beginning of the Cold War was brought to you by Miss Donovan students Katie McPhillips and Crystal Horace.